Hey YouTube fans, it's me, the Storyman, and welcome back to my latest video. Today I'm reading a story which I made from Chat GPT, which I call The Man with the Cosmic Thumb. Yes, that's a good title. So remember folks, like my video, subscribe to my channel, and please leave your comments down in the comment section below. Ooh, it's quite a scorcher today, even though it's supposed to be the rainy season, but oh boy. But don't worry, I'll give this story as much life as possible, despite circumstances. And remember, the story is made by Chat GPT, but the voice acting, dramatic flair! Storytelling, narration, and ad-libbing were done by a real-life human being, which I call myself, the Storyman. So, let us begin. On the edge of a quiet town stood an old cottage with peeling blue paint and a garden that looked more like a jungle than a backyard. Its owner, 82-year-old Walter Hensley, preferred fixing broken radios than talking to people. He spent most mornings feeding birds, the afternoons repairing old machines, and evenings staring at the stars through a telescope older than some of his neighbors. Yeah, I can imagine this guy's a recluse. He doesn't really care for much. I can imagine many people are like that. And we ain't the only ones. There are a lot of people like that who just like to be left alone. I want to see how that would work. Walter wasn't a scientist. He had never worked at a laboratory. He was simply curious. Just like everyone else. Full of curiosity and wanted to see how things are. One rainy Tuesday, while trying to build an automatic sprinkler powered by an antique radio coil. I can imagine how impressive that would be. Nice. A cracked magnifying lens and a handful of strange minerals he bought decades earlier from a traveling rock collector. Something went spectacularly wrong, of course. How can you make stuff with that? And again, that's impressive he tried to make a sprinkler system with that kind of materials. Or perhaps spectacularly right. Ooh, looks like he might figure something out. Machine hum. The air bent like hot glass. A marble-sized sphere of darkness appeared above a flower pot. Walter blinked. Like this. The sphere shimmered with tiny specks of light. Whoa, he muttered. That doesn't usually happen. He poked it gently with a screwdriver. The screwdriver vanished halfway into the sphere before popping back out completely unarmed. Inside the tiny orb, there were stars, not reflections, actual stars. I can imagine you're seeing beautiful stars and the size of a pea. This size. This is how big he created. That had little stars. I can imagine how that'd be. It is big as a Super Bowl. This size. This is how big that he made of a Super Bowl. In dire galaxies, impossibly small yet impossibly distant. Walter hurried inside, grabbed his strongest magnifying microscope, and nearly fell off his chair. The sphere wasn't empty. It was expanding. Not into his backyard. Inside itself. Ooh, it looks like Walter had created a miniature universe that's growing. Nice. The little universe had space that folded in ways his eyes couldn't understand, although the sphere never grew larger than a basketball. Ooh, this size. I can imagine having a universe to see beautiful stars in it. Like, whoa, how beautiful that would be. Like big. You can do it like this. Or this. I can imagine how that is. Its interior stretched farther than imagination. Within hours, clouds of glowing gas swirled into galaxies. By sunset, the first stars ignited. Walter became obsessed. Ooh. Every morning he'd bring a chair into the yard with a notebook, writing down. He wasn't watching a model. He was watching time itself move forward, writing it down. Inside the universe, millions of years passed every few seconds. Planets formed, Continents drifted, oceans appeared. Life began. Oh, looks like this miniature universe the size of a basketball has life in it. Nice. Tiny microbes became forests. Forests became strange animals unlike anything on Earth. Ooh, looks like Walter has discovered life. He created life. Well, I guess he became their god. Nice. Every afternoon, Walter would whisper, "Goodness, you've gotten busy." Huh. I can imagine how he would say that. You'd be surprised. Very busy. One day, after what was only 3 Earth weeks, intelligent life appeared. Not humans. Ooh, looks like he created something amazing. The beings were made of shimmering crystal covered with soft moss-like fibers that glowed under their sun. Wow, I can imagine how beautiful they would be. Walter nicknamed them moss folk. Wow, I can imagine how they would look like. Use your imagination. Moss folk that are size as big as humans, covered in moss that are covered with glass. Oh, interesting. They lived only about 20 of their own years. Wow, 2 decades. That's short. Since time moved so quickly, entire civilizations rose and fell while Walter finished a cup of tea. I can imagine that's how he would do it. Sounds nice though to drink some tea. He watched them discover fire. Ooh, like how a caveman discovered its first breakthrough. Then farming, then sailing, then mathematics, then astronomy. Ooh, looks like they might see the stars. They might see not just the stars, but an old man drinking tea like he's their god. I can imagine how that would be. The funniest part? The moss folk discovered Walter long before he realized they could see him. Wow. I can imagine how the moss folk had long discovered Walter drinking tea. They're like, oh my god, what is a godlike being drinking a celestial drink? I can imagine that's what they'll say. But that's how I would say it. I wonder what he would say. Their astronomers noticed an enormous space beyond the stars. 2 gigantic eyes. White clouds that looked suspiciously like eyebrows. A booming voice whenever Walter sneezed. Religious debates exploded. Ooh. Here it is. I knew it. Every time they saw a being bigger than them, they'll think it's a god. Every time. Just like our world. I can imagine they see something like this, they can't explain it. Either it's religion or aliens. Some believe the great sky gardener watched over them. Hail the sky gardener, watch over us, give us great bountiful harvest, our God. Like this. I can imagine that's what they do. Others insisted the giant face was merely a natural phenomenon. One philosopher famously declared this: if the gardener exists, why does he keep moving that enormous green mountain? He was referring to Walter mowing the lawn. He always keeps mowing it. Yeah. Walter never intended to fear. Mostly. It looks like Walter was interested to see if he could actually have an effect on the little world the size of a basketball, the moss folk. I wonder how he would do that. Let's see how the story goes. Let's see how he tries to play literally God. Sometimes storms threaten entire civilizations. He placed an umbrella over the sphere. The moss folk, the heavens suddenly become calm. When the sunlight became too harsh, Walter moved the universe into the shade. Their climate shifted. They invented new calendars trying to explain it. Years passed. Walter grew attached to them. He laughed at their plays, cried when great libraries burned. I can imagine how to see, or burning their knowledge. It pities me and I can't do anything about it. I can imagine how they're like that. I can imagine how they would be. watching beautiful things get destroyed. Celebrated when rival kingdoms finally made peace. I can imagine he's like watching his favorite show. It's like watching a miniature version of Game of Thrones, only nicer with moss people. He knew thousands of names: historians, artists, explorers. Children who dreamed of reaching the stars. They would never know how he remembered them. They would never know he remembered all of them. He watched their civilization literally from the beginning up to now. I can imagine that he is literally their god. Eventually, the Moss folk entered their scientific age. The age of science, discovery, and in creation. Well, great scientific creations. We had created prosthetics. I can imagine we're doing that, but yeah, we're too busy waging war on each other. We have no scientific age. Ours is the age of the millionaire, where the millionaires run everything. They built telescopes, particle accelerators, quantum computers. Soon, their greatest minds noticed something impossible. The edge of the universe. Ooh, looks like their universe they built is limited. It's just the size of a basketball, not too big. Unlike their calculations, space did not continue forever. It curved inward. One scientist proposed a shocking theory. Our universe may exist inside a higher reality. I can imagine. Are we also a universe existing inside a fixed higher reality? I wonder if we're also a sphere. I can imagine. We wonder if someone else is observing us up in the stars, up there in space, watching us like Walter's watching the Moss folk, watching us right now. They probably remembers our names. For him, probably the big guy upstairs. For us, it's millions of years. For him, it's just an hour or so. I can imagine time moves fast here in our time. I can imagine that's us. We be literally a sphere in the universe, literally the size of a basketball, and someone else is watching us, drinking tea, just helping us out when we need to. I wonder if that can be possible. That would be us. Literally a miniature universe that exists inside a higher plane of reality. I wonder if that would be possible. I can imagine how cool that would be. The idea was mocked, until someone measured tiny vibrations coming from outside existence itself. Those vibrations were Walter humming while watering tomato. I can imagine that's how that sounded. Enjoying a merry tune while it hums into the rest of the universe. Curiosity spread. Instead of fighting wars, civilizations pooled their knowledge. For centuries, they searched for the truth. They launched spacecraft farther than anyone believed possible. None escaped. The boundaries simply bent up back home. One is described as it is. It is as though reality refuses to let us leave. And lo and behold, Walter heard him. Walter smiled, probably for the best. He knows that if they try to do that, they might get hurt. He doesn't know what would happen if the sphere would shatter and they would free. How would that work? What would happen to their world? He had grown protected. The little universe felt less like an experiment and more like family. Then something unexpected happened. One evening, Walter noticed lights blinking, not from stars, a pattern. 3 flashes, pause. 5 flashes, pause. 3 flashes, pause. 3 flashes again. Someone was signaling him. Walter froze. They had found a way to contact him. He adjusted the microscope. A colossal space station had built near the edge of their universe. Millions of mirrors reflected light into one focused beam. The message continued, and it said, "Hello." Walter stared for nearly an hour. Finally, he picked up a flashlight and blinked back. 3, 5, 3, 5, 3. He responded. Inside the universe, pandemonium! Ah! Oh my God! It's possible! The impossible had happened. The cosmos had answered. For generations afterward, Walter communicated with them using flashes of light, shadows, and carefully timed movements. The mouse folk eventually understood they lived inside their own reality. Oddly enough, they weren't afraid. I can imagine how we would react if we were made in a fixed reality. I can imagine that's how we would be. Can you imagine what that's like to live in a sphere? That we're in a fixed reality and then a higher one. I wonder how would that work? I wonder how would that work indeed. Huh? I can imagine how weird that would be. I wonder if we're also living in a sphere and somewhere we're just a small bauble in some kid's backyard or some guy looking through us in the garden. I guess we'll never know. Their philosophers concluded something comforting. And this is how it's phrased. If there is a universe beyond ours, perhaps theirs is inside another. I can imagine that's what I came up to. I can imagine we're inside another universe somewhere. I wonder how that would be like. It'd be kind of awesome. Walter looked up at the night sky. The stars above suddenly seemed different. Farther away, more mysterious. He remembered the impossible geometry inside the little sphere. He wondered, had someone else once accidentally built his universe? Was there another old man somewhere sipping tea behind an even larger garden, smiling at a tiny blue world in a glowing sphere? Walter chuckled. Well, he said to the stars, if you're watching. He raised his teacup. Good evening. For just a moment, one star twinkled 3 times, then 5, then 3 again. It looks like Walter got his answer. Looks like he's also too in another world, another universe inside a bigger one. And I can imagine that's how it is. And that's the story of the man with the cosmic thumb. So thank you for watching my video. This is the story man signing out. If you want to see more videos, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and please leave a comment down in the comment section below. Remember, hit that like button. Hit the like button down there in the video to like this video. Subscribe to my channel. Click the bell down there to get daily notifications from me and uploads on my videos. Comment down in the comment section below of what kind of story you want me to make, and I will make it. I will use Chat GPT to make the story, and I will give it as much life as possible with my voice acting and dramatic posing and flair. If you do all that, this thumb will reach the end with a thumbs up. Remember, like, comment, subscribe equals a thumbs up from me to you. And if you're watching, please spread this channel out so everyone can know that the bookman and the story man is making stories with Chat GPT and giving as much life as possible. Remember, the story is made by Chat GPT, but the voice acting, dramatic flair, storytelling, narration are done by a real human being, which I call myself the story man, which is this guy right here, me. Thank you and goodbye. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Bye.